Are we ready? We are so ready. Hey, welcome to the kitchen. We are not in the Nutmeg Tavern, but we've got plenty of nutmeg, let me tell you. We are in the Nutmeg Kitchen today. No, we call it the German Kitchen, but we'll call it the Nutmeg Kitchen today for this live stream. This is a special live stream from a special location, and we are testing out all kinds of crazy stuff. The time vortex machinery is, we're in, well, who knows how this is going to work out. So bear with us. We're with technical difficulties. I am John Townsends, your host for this live stream, and I am joined behind me back there some places, Ryan.
Hello. It's good to be here. Thank you guys for being here with us.
We're not going to be cooking in the kitchen today, but we're going to be having fun talking about just basically random fun, inside baseball, behind the scenes. Maybe we'll talk about the German kitchen. Maybe we'll do all kinds of stuff. But we wouldn't be able to do this without the guy that is running the console right through the time vortex, Aaron.
Hey, how's my mic sound? I'm asking them because I'm not monitoring my mic.
Can they see you?
Yeah. Whoa. Now they can. I'm right by this very hot wood stove, so my back is sweating, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the kitchen.
So, it's too hot. Anyway. We had this amazing cooking episode. Sometimes, you're like, oh, I need to do a cooking episode. What's it going to be? And then, you just kind of randomly go through a cookbook and the recipe pops out at you. And probably, I don't know, is it sometime next week it's going to come out? Aaron? He's trying to get things.
That's possible.
Maybe?
It's not going to be the next video we put out.
Who knows when it's going to come out. But anyway, this just tremendous, it's like one of those episodes where you go, is this the best best dish we've ever cooked? In its way. It was just super good. Too bad Ryan wasn't there. He could have tried it out. Maybe
if I'd been there, I think it would have tasted better. No, I'm joking. I'm sure it was delicious.
Well, it was. All the crew thought it was yum delicious, which is an 18th century word. And I thought it was too. And we had a lot of fun in that episode. What do you think, Ryan?
Valerie is commenting on my crumbled hat. I tried to fix my hat before the show. I turned on a steamer that never steamed. So, what can I say?
If he would stop just jamming it in his pocket, and maybe it would be something more than.
We're always on the move, guys.
Looking like a crumbled piece of paper.
MD Smith, 720s in Super Chat. Happy Friday, all. It's my birthday today, and my wife surprised me with the pocket nutmeg grinder from your website. Feeling downright fancy. Thanks for all the great content.
Wow, that's a pretty cool gift.
That's a really good gift.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
It can go with you everywhere.
Yeah, it's a pocket grinder, right? So, when you need...
And it stores nutmeg inside of it.
Right, and I can see it now. You're in some restaurant someplace,
yes.
You whip this guy out, and they're like, what are you doing?
They're used to telling people they can't bring in their own salad dressing.
Right.
But like you brought in your own nutmeg.
Yeah. So, well, if you would have put enough nutmeg on it in the first place, we wouldn't be here, would we? Now I am wearing the special hat. This is the Friday.
Wait. I'm sorry. Well, you've got to wish him a happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday! What was his name again?
MD Smith 702.
Happy birthday, MD Smith 702. Did I do that right?
Yeah, that was great.
I am wearing the special. This is the fried chicken hat. This is the hat I was wearing in the fried chicken episode that did what it did way back when. I can't even remember how many years ago fried chicken was. Anybody remember when fried chicken was? I don't know. Whenever it was.
4, 5, 6?
6 years ago. Aaron, thanks. Wow. That was a long time ago.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, and the hat's still here. Although it keeps
And
shrinking.
it looks great.
I know.
Oh, we got another one. We got a super chat from Aaron Howitt. Was there hot sauce in the 18th century?
There were some hot peppers, but turning it into a sauce, I think is kind of I know there's a, sort of like a horseradishy sauce that shows up more in the early 19th century. There's certainly other kinds of sauces, but spicy, I can't think of any right off the top of my head. Things like mushroom ketchup and walnut ketchup are there, but not a peppery kind of sauce. Those guys on the other side of the time vortex are looking very puzzled.
We're not here.
You're not there. Okay. Well, I mean, you're on the other side of the time vortex. I can see through the whirling mists of time and space. So they're fussing around with it. Who knows what's going to happen over there?
So when did you? Let's talk about this kitchen real quick. When
Yeah.
did you build the kitchen?
The kitchen was built. Let's see. Crimson Bond was 2010. Comes out 2011. At the end of 2011, we start doing cooking episodes. They do so well that we start building the kitchen in the spring of 2012. So exactly 10 years. And Aaron helped me build this set, this German kitchen. This facility, this building was a chicken house. All our chickens had gotten eaten 3 or 4 different times, and so we gave up on chickens. We stopped feeding the wildlife. And I, casting about for a set, said, hey, where are we going to do all these cooking episodes when it's cold and nasty out? And so we started to build this inside of the building to make it look like the German kitchen, kind of. The kitchen at Frontier Culture Museum in Stanton, Virginia. And it's lasted a long time, and it does great things for us. We still shoot a lot of stuff here in the German kitchen, and it needs a little repair here and there. I need to work on the oven on the other side of the wall and some other things like that, but it's still here.
So folks are wondering if we're planning to cook today. We're not.
Yeah.
But this is a test to see if we'll be able to cook live in the future, which we have plans for and are very excited about.
Yeah, can you imagine, the fire on the hearth? Well, I don't know how we were going to do that part. The fire on the hearth, and cooking. Maybe we'll use the oven instead. But doing the entire recipe, start to finish, no editing, live. That ought to be an incredible experiment. Probably painful and incredible all at the same time. Let me jump in and again, one of the reasons why we can do what we do is with the people that support us on Patreon, the people that support us on Townsends Plus and PayPal. So the brand new Patreon folks this week, Jennifer Mariucci, somebody you just called Darwin, and one called Doodle Goop, which is a great name. We have folks that just kind of do one shot, help us out on PayPal, Dorrit Bergen and Simon Calcutt, and then brand new Townsends Plus people over on our special streaming platform, Gabriella A., Anthony K., Ryan M., and Robert D. So we've got lots of folks out there that help support us in that way. And of course, folks also head on over to our website over at townsends.us for all kinds of fun merch. Or hey, you want a tricorn hat? Maybe you need a pair of knee breeches, or who knows, even an 18th century pair of shoes. You can head on over there and check that out. And you'll find all those links down in the description section of this video.
People are talking about popcorn. They're wondering if popcorn was a thing in the 18th century. And we've done a video with popcorn.
Yeah, so we did What's Going On? Those guys are over there like talking about the thing and stuff. Anyway, popcorn, so Native Americans are where most of the original corn kind of culture comes from. Maize, Indian corn, it was called in our 18th century time period. And they had a lot of different ways of preparing corn, and we did a couple of episodes on that. And popcorn's tricky. If you don't have the right kind of equipment, how are you going to pop popcorn? And one of the ways they would do that is heating up sand to pop the popcorn inside of, which, like, I don't know how you would deal with that, you know? So we experimented with that in the episode, popping corn inside of sand or even rock salt. So that seemed like a better idea to me. It's like, well, that salt can be like sand, but, you know, it worked. And we also did some parched corn and smashing it down into gritty stuff and turning it into a drink, which really didn't work out all that well. Probably needs another episode where we try that and actually make it work, you know.
Real quick.
Yeah.
My mic doesn't work.
Oh.
Instead of sneaking around and doing stuff, I need to get something on your mic.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trying to like crawl around and make you guys feel uncomfortable, I'm just gonna sneak over and check it out real quick. But continue.
Careful what you're doing there. Yeah, this is dangerous stuff.
Very.
I mean, you could be
I didn't
ripped.
want to crawl under this cord, and then you guys are like, "What is happening?"
You could be ripped limb from limb as you. Yeah.
Caleb was getting ready to like actually.
So I don't know what's happening here, guys, but let's just be careful about what we're doing.
It's just power.
So Phil Klum is in Super Chat, says, here's to the kitchen crew, and also asked about cooking happening today. We've covered that, but thank you very much for that. And then Matthew, thanks for the video.
Yeah.
Aaron, I think it was Aaron Howitt. Let me see. I think it was her, though, that asked where we got the corn. Where did we say we got the corn? Was it Iroquois for the parched corn episode?
Yeah, there's the Iroquois Corn Project. I think they're in someplace in New York. They're in that western New York area.
So I just got an email from them not too long ago, and the only place that you can get it is through a gift shop website. So if you guys are interested in that and you email us, we'll get that to you.
Right.
I don't have that information on the top of my head.
Yeah, so it's like Iroquois Corn I don't remember exactly what it was, but really interesting stuff to use and a fun project. Not for the popcorn, but for the parched corn part. And also when we did succotash, very similar kind of circumstance. You want to use the same kind of corn for that.
Is this special wood that the sign's made from, John?
Yeah, well, it's a plank of oak.
Plank of oak?
Yeah.
Was this out of the shingle material?
Yeah, it's
that's
out
what I
of
thought.
the same kind of material.
Look at that. We got a shingle right here.
Well, yes.
All right. We got Max are cool in Super Chat. Hey, John, are there recipes you've done that you think about doing again? Maybe you found new info or you've altered how you like to make it.
Certainly, there are ones that we want to revisit, and we've done that a couple times, very, very successfully. There's a multitude of things we did in the second and third season. The first season videos still can be very, very popular, and you'll see those kind of popping up in the feed. Like we did baked beans the first season, and that episode has done really well. Also, the soup stew hash episode. So some of those sort of we revisit because they're so good and we've done them. I mean, it's been 10 years ago.
Right.
So we revisit them, kind of try to introduce some new material to that and do another episode. So yeah, there are some that we like to revisit to have fun with. And besides, I want to make them again and eat them. So
yeah.
You know.
Well, we did make them again. We just didn't make was it the oven where we made the big feast, right?
Right.
But we didn't make it like a video about it.
Right.
And I think that we had them in the last cabin episode too. We had baked beans for that scenario.
Yeah.
So anytime we get an excuse to make them, we do.
Let me tell you. And there are other recipes or sort of takes on that same recipe. So we've done pumpkin pie a couple of different times, and there are some other ones that we want to do more of. And yeah, so definitely. There are times when you find a little bit more information or a lot more information, and it's like, oh, we need to hit that one again.
So somebody's in regular chat questions right now. On the topic of salty snacks, did roasted peanuts appear in the colonies?
Yeah, not even peanuts that I know of. I don't know the exact history of exactly where peanuts are coming from and when they show up in cookbooks. That's a trickier one. I think that's definitely gets popular in the 19th century. I don't know that it's really a thing that's happening in the 18th century.
And then, did they have cardboard in the 18th century?
Sure, they had not corrugated cardboard, with the funny little ridges in it, but they had cardstock material, thicker cardboard things that they would use for little boxes, cardstock for other projects, even kind of paper mache material. There were these really interesting compressed paper boxes that they were making in the early 19th century. So they certainly had cardboard type material.
Dan BX is in Super Chat without a comment, so thank you so much. Dan Reynolds, we see Townsends pop up on Frontier Patriot with Ron and Justine, I think, yesterday at the 2240 mark. Thanks for keeping history alive.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think I'm caught up right now.
So what do you think is on I think you had some cooking episodes that you were thinking of, Ryan. Do you remember what some of those were?
I don't know if I cooking episodes. I had other episodes for sure.
There was that book. I must
Here
have
you
put
go.
it someplace
No,
else.
it's right here.
Is it? Give me that book. Give me that book. What was the recipe that you did out of this one?
That was the nourishing hashi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And this is the one that has like 1,000,001 mead recipes in it.
Yes,
too.
right.
Woo, boy,
and all
boy.
the interesting titles.
Yeah.
Like it was a marketing masterpiece. I love that book.
Right. The Closet of the Eminently Learned Sir Kennelby Digby K.T. Knight, opened, thereby discovered several ways of making metheglin cider, cherry wine, etc., together with excellent directions for cookery, as also for preserving. It's like it just keeps going and going. Anyway, it's like you don't have time to read the book because you spent all the time on the title. Yeah, so this one, because it's early, it's 17th century, 1669, it's fun to dig in and find these recipes where, they're just so different. Even, as we get to the 18th century, you can see these recipes morphing into what we expect them to be. But when you find them in the 17th century, they're a little more eccentric and they have strange ingredients in them. Usually wine is in everything. Of course, you see nutmeg a lot. And they also put things like ambergris in them. And you're like, okay, no way, I'm not putting ambergris in my, in my food. And I don't think they actually did either. I think it was just one of those. You could put ambergris in here. Oh, yeah. The mark is here. Upcoming episode, we're going to be making mustard. We're going to have fun with mustard. I think I'll make Ryan do that because I'm not a big mustard fan.
That one's already actually percolating.
Oh, you're already...
Yeah. That one's one of those long game recipes.
Yeah.
So.
There's some recipes where if you want to do it right, it's supposed to age 3 months. And so we have to let things age. And so the start to finish on an episode like that can take quite a while.
Another one of those that I want to do is Dutch beef. And that's where you have to spice it and let it sit and do its thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gonna survive the botulism on that one?
We'll see. We'll see how if we're feeling brave.
We should get hazard pay for some of this stuff. Let me tell you.
Hey.
Well, I should get hazard pay.
Are you ready for any super chats? I know you're digging in that book.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Go for it.
Number one is J Smoothie. Smoothie. I don't know. What were Russians eating in the 18th century?
I don't have a lot of references for that kind of food. That's like takes special translation. I've never seen any translations of cookbooks from that time period for them, or even anything in Eastern Europe at all. We do certainly see, some cookery books from, say, Germany in our time period. Not a lot of them have been translated yet, maybe little pieces here and there. So most of what we find for other cultures Obviously English, duh. But we have some French cookery cookbooks from the 17th century and the 18th century translated, at least one Spanish book that helps us kind of understand 18th century cookery, but I don't have any other ones to really help me out. There's some Italian stuff from the 16th century and maybe some Polish also. I do have a Polish book. That's probably as close as I'm going to get.
Amber is in Super Chat. Hi, John and crew. God be with you all this beautiful spring. Thank you. And has there been any recipe or technique that you've incorporated into regular life?
Well, I mean, not that I can think of really specifically, but it isn't that far from what our standard cookery is like anyway.
I've got one.
Yeah.
I use the cloves and an onion thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I use the ball of butter rolled in flour. I do both of those pretty often.
Yeah. There you go.
Speed and Style, Tony's in Super Chat. Will there be a canoe trip video this summer?
Gosh darn it, there better be.
If it stops raining, right now the river is above my house.
Yeah. Yeah, it's next week's going to be tremendous.
Yeah,
we're going to see just like nice, partly sunny, and like upper 70s the entire week. It's going to be beautiful. So we're going to have to get out there and make some outdoor videos.
Somebody's wondering, obviously we don't know who the first person was. I think it's rhetorical, but why would somebody eat ambergris and think that this is the thing that we need and it become the most expensive thing that you can get? Why is that a thing?
I have no idea. It had to be somebody who had like brain damage or something. Why would you? It's like, look, it's whale vomit. Let's eat it.
David Parker's in Super Chat. No message, just thank you.
Thank you.
We've got, looks like Kilimanjaro in Super Chat. Thank you to all the Townsends crew. You got me interested in this time period again. Could you do a video discussing and creating wax candles?
Okay. Candles. Well, way back in the super ancient catalog, in just the instructional ones, there is a casting candles, wax candles in a mold, but not sort of the talking about candles, what they're made out of most of the time, how common they would be, how expensive they would be, and some of the making of. So there's a lot of candle information there that would probably be really good. So
have we ever done a molding candle video?
Yeah.
I thought we did, right? Yeah. Okay. Dan BX. Did 17th and 18th century kitchens have the equivalent of a sink, like a basin or tub for rinsing and washing, etc.?
Yeah, they would have a dry sink, so it didn't have plumbing to it necessarily. Some in industrial kitchens, you see them. If you look in Diderot's Encyclopedia, in some of these industrial situations, you'll see sort of cisterns built into the wall. They have taps that come out of them. They'll have sinks and drains in the floor and that sort of thing. So, but in home settings, standard homes, you don't see a sort of that as a fixture, but you'll certainly have wash tubs and other places to do dishes. You'd probably do that basically right there by the fire, so you could heat up water and do the dishes at your table right there by the fire, and then throw it out the window on somebody who's probably walking by, all that dirty dishwater.
I wonder if in like large, like expensive kitchens, if they had when we were looking through Diderot and they had the sinks in the tobacco area. Yeah. I wonder if that was happening in any really expensive kitchens.
Well, you'll see there's at least one painting of a kitchen, and it's that one person who's doing the dishes, and the painting is from behind her back.
Yeah.
And you can see that window that's right above her with almost all like a light reflector so that she can see down into what she's doing. So there's some kitchens that have something like that. And I think that's probably more popular, on the continent, in the Netherlands and places like that.
Okay. Would you consider doing a beer brew cider pressing day from the German kitchen or similar now that you have the capability?
Well, I don't know what we're going to press them between our palms. We don't have a press, but we can try to work up something like that.
And then in chat, I've got a couple of questions here. Were there anything close to grocery stores back then, like maybe a market?
Well, they would have markets in town, so like a farmer's market today, you bring all those people together into a particular area of the town once a week, maybe twice a week, depending on the situation, and you would have people bringing in vegetables and other things, maybe even cheeses and milk from the countryside, and you would have a market, as it were, but it wasn't one big market. And then, of course, you had the dry grocers who are going to be selling you, dry goods. So a store that might sell you, different kinds of grain or other things for your kitchen that aren't that active item that you would get from the farmer.
Okay, and then somebody's asking about making cheese. You got any plans to make some cheese?
Well, there is the cheese making episode that is very popular that we did at Genesee Country Village. Also, about the same time we did the fried chicken episode, we did the cheese curds and we did something with them. What did we do with those? We did something.
Yeah, man, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was a painful shoot, though.
It was.
And we did
difficult.
the whole, separating the curds and the way. Yeah, I don't remember what the end was.
That was the same day we shot fried chicken.
Exactly. Or in that same week.
I think it was the same day.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some catching up to do. Sue O'Connor, there's a hole in my sock. When is the mending epic?
Ooh. Well, if I was doing the mending, I'd throw it out the window. So that's a really good question. We got to find the mender.
Yeah,
We've find the mender for that.
we've got some pretty good leads on that right now.
Yeah.
Just Paul is in Super Chat. I've hated mushrooms my whole life because of the texture. I understand you, Paul. Do the people of olden days have any recipes that might change my opinion on the fungus among us?
Well, I mean, Ryan says he hates mushrooms, I think, for the exact same reason, right?
Right, yeah,
Right?
but I've found some things. The morels, man, we did that morel video and it changed my life. If you batter those and fry them in the skillet, that's really, really good. Also, if you like the flavor of mushrooms, but you don't like the texture, like he's saying, mushroom ketchup, put that on everything. It's wonderful.
Yep. Ice cream, whatever you got, you just dunk it on there.
See, I'm wondering if that is a live video in the German kitchen making mushroom ketchup again.
Well, it's supposed to kind of sit there and do its thing for a while.
Right, so we can let it live feed for
Just the camera on it for hours.
But the preparation and everything we could do. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those videos that I'd like to do again. It's so fun.
Yeah, and we've even, back when it was more viable, I think we re-released that one at least once on the channel. But But mushroom ketchup is tremendous stuff, and even the mushroom powder that comes in after you get done with the mushroom ketchup. You take all those solids and you dry them out, and you use them like super salt, and they're just so very, very good. And you don't have that texture issue, but the wonderful flavor.
And depending where you are right now is like getting into morel season, so it might be the time. Maybe you'll be a convert to the mushroom.
Yeah, so check out that mushroom episode, the Gold in the Woods, or whatever it was called, something like that. Was that last year or the year before?
That was last year.
Last year.
Right.
Wow. Time is flying.
Heather Torrey is in Super Chat donating to the kitchen Wi-Fi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Noah is in Super Chat. This may be out of your purview, but do you know when recipes like jambalaya and gumbo started to develop in the Deep South, and would you be keen on doing a dish like that? You want to take this?
Well, those recipes are coming out of mostly probably the enslaved population. And so those are being developed, or already were developed here in the 18th century and popular. They just weren't being published. There was no, it's like, who's going to publish that, right? So that stuff doesn't really get to be published and turned into cookbooks until you get well into the 19th century. But its roots are way back there. So Twitty, what's his name?
Michael Twitty.
Michael Twitty. So we did several, 3-4 episodes with Michael Twitty. One of them was on okra.
Right.
And that probably is as close as you're going to get. And that's a really good episode that kind of gives you some of those kind of background concepts, what's going on with that. So look for the Michael Twitty okra episode. I can't remember if that one had a special title to it or not.
I don't remember. I think that it uses okra, though.
Yeah, well, I know there's okra in there because he stuck one on my
I'm
forehead.
saying in the title. I think if you search that word. But yeah, this is a topic that I've been searching down. I'm really interested in. And there's a particular book that I bought on the history of Creole food that I lost. And I just found it 2 days ago.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, it's in my garage in a crate.
Maybe you should have answered the question.
Well, no, I don't have the answer yet, but I'm honing in. I think your answer is great.
Good.
Fantastic answer. All right, man. Oh, somebody says Michael Twitty was the best guest ever.
There you go.
And yeah, we'd certainly be open to working with Michael Twitty again, although I think he's way too busy.
Yeah.
That guy is busy.
Well, and we did 4 episodes in one day with him. That was,
poor guy.
I was harrowing. So.
David is in super chat. What is John drinking? Year and grape.
This was a mulberry liqueur sent to me by Mr. Bendixson. And we got just regular old tea here with the old nutmeg floating in it. It's the best way.
Dustin sent in the super chats for the Kitchen Hazard Pay Fund.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
It's been pretty dangerous here so far. Tripping over equipment and, dangerous fires and everything going on.
Considering this is all kind of not last minute, but it's going really well.
Good. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll even try it from around the cabin. No, you don't think so?
Oh, definitely. I thought you meant maybe we'll try the cooking one next.
No. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, the cabin would be fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll have to try it.
Yeah.
Even if it fails midstream, at least we tried.
Got that big fire going. You can be way at the back. I'm sitting right there by
There's that Wi-Fi through the door.
So right now we have almost 1,000 people viewing and about just over 500 likes.
Oh.
If you guys click the like button, it really helps this video move along. So
Yeah, log
click it.
out, log back in with a different,
Sure.
Use your 3 or 4 dummy accounts, and that's what I would do if I were a big fan. I'm just saying. We had a really good time Monday night.
what?
Remember Monday night? Remember
Oh.
what we did Monday night?
Yeah, that yes, I remember now. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Monday night we were at a show with watching Joe Pera do his stand-up. Had a lot of fun with that.
Yes.
Some of us weren't there,
God.
but most of us were there. We all had a really good time and chatting with Joe after the show. It's fun to have worked with Joe, and if you want to know who I'm talking about, go back into the back catalog here on YouTube and find some of the Joe Pera episodes. Great guy to work with. A lot of fun, and it was great to see him locally.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Somebody in here is asking when the next Unpacking the Pantry episode is.
Good question.
I do not know. We've been putting a lot of work into.
You want me to find you a recipe here real quick?
I've been cooking more on the YouTube channel,
Yep.
and so that's where, I don't know. It just depends. When John's less busy with other things, maybe there'll be more Unpacking the Pantry episodes. Sure.
It's springtime.
Yeah.
And everything has to happen at once. Except right now, you have to do it with hip waders on because it's so wet. But I'm just trying to get things started here, and it's just impossible. It's been a tough spring, let me tell you.
Somebody said search Food of the Enslaved, and you'll find the okra episode.
That's a whole series. Yep. Good one.
Okay, this is interesting. So speaking of hazard pay, have you read any accounts of workmen improvising personal protective equipment, like putting beeswax in ears to protect their hearing, for example, or anything like that?
There are some kinds of obvious protective equipment, especially in very dangerous working situations that aren't necessarily improvised. They're just standard equipment. And you can see some of those in Diderot's encyclopedia, where you're seeing sort of industrial situations. Now, you're not going to see things like people putting, balls of wax in their ears, but you will see, like in the glass blowing, they've got a special kind of clothing they wear to keep the heat off of them, and even special visors and whatnot, because you have to be able to kind of see in there, but you also want to protect your face from the heat because you're working with just really, really high heat situations. Blacksmiths, of course, have special leather aprons and all those great things. But safety equipment, they're not really giant. They're not really terribly interested in safety equipment unless it's just almost impossible to work without it.
We've got a super chat from Frontier Patriot. Tip to the chef and the sous chef.
Oh, which one's which?
You're the chef.
Oh, yeah,
of course. House maintenance video, pest control, insulation, preventing disease.
Yeah, there would be some fun stuff. Might be something like picture study or just a topic for a live stream or something. So, that's
all right. I'm caught up, so I'm searching now.
Okay, very good. We have done several new books showing up on the website real recently. Some fishing books. If you're interested in 18th century fishing, especially, there's some good stuff here. And this one, I can't get enough of. They did such a good job on the print on this one. It's so extremely readable, and this one is reprinted. Even though it's 1769, this is from a 1910 edition. So they fixed all the S's so you can read them if you're not one of those. 17th century books were not printed very well, and so they can be really hard to read sometimes. And this one is just so very readable. I'm really excited about doing some more pieces out of this one. So. Scalded cheese. Although I don't think we're going to be making, Oh, this was the one with the honey drinks in it, though.
Yeah, right.
I'm very interested in doing. It's like I don't want to, take the time to do a mead necessary. That's going to take a long time. But some of these short fermented, but short-term fermentation, like a green beer, as they would say. So some of these honey drinks where you can, they're ready to go in 3 or 4 days. Sound like a lot of fun to do.
So somebody's asking how they, where was it? Okay, how did they make yeast cultures in colonial times?
So the yeast cultures are generally they aren't making them. They're continued to develop from ones that have been, captured as it were long before. So most people are working from yeasts that they get from the brewer, and the brewer's just working with this constant yeast. He starts off with it, probably inherits his yeast strain, and he keeps it going like you would keep going a sourdough in some sense, right? And he sells that leftover yeast to bakers, and they propagate from that. So you will find recipes in 18th century cookbooks, and they will say how to make yeast, but they don't mean how to make yeast from nothing. They mean how to make more yeast from a little bit of yeast you have left over from the brewer. So generally you don't see sort of the I'm going to capture my own yeast strain and kind of take off with it like we would kind of try to do that today, even though it is very easy. They just didn't talk about that. You see it very, very occasionally as you move out of the 18th century, the 1700s, into the 1800s. You start to see that happen a little bit more. People start to talk about that. Even, I think, Margaretta Curley talks about that in her little newspaper article from 1798 or something like that, 1799, I think. But it's kind of a rare thing, and usually they're just working from yeast you already get.
Somebody asked a really good question, and the answer is yes. But would you like people to recommend guests or experts and other cultures to have more diverse 18th century topics. I completely understand it's hard for just one group to cover so much. We really appreciate when you suggest people. It doesn't always work out, and in fact, I would say it rarely works out that we can get together and make a video, but it doesn't mean that we didn't pursue it.
Right.
It's just with, typically those folks have really busy schedules too. And when we get together with people, it actually takes months, if not years of planning sometimes.
Yeah, we are, still have people on our kind of connection list. Even Joe Pera, that took more than a year to make it happen from the start to when it actually happened. It's amazing. That's just a reason why producers are important people.
But I will say that so far what we've discussed for this spring and summer, I think that's shaping up to be one of the most exciting spring-summer seasons that we've had. I'm really excited.
That reminds me. Let's see. Not this weekend. Next weekend, the event at Martin Station is happening. Martin Station is in Ewing, Virginia, way out there on that western tip of Virginia, right there close to the Cumberland Gap. Super spot to visit, and a the event is morphing a little bit here from one kind of thing to another. It's still like one of the premier events to show up in that sort of time frame. So, and unless bad things happen, I'll be there, and lots of other folks that you've seen on the channel will be there, like
Tim Williams,
Frankie Carroll, Tim Williams,
Michael Dragoo,
Simeon will be there. So lots.
It's also the site that we went to do the chinking and daubing.
Yep.
We did all the laundry stuff at that site.
Yep.
So if you've seen, and there was a recent video that had a lot of B-roll from that site.
Right. So we use it a lot because it is a beautiful place to go, and a lot of great folks will be there. So if you can make it to the Martin Station event, I highly recommend it.
I would go so far to say that it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
There we go.
It's just fantastic.
There we go.
And one caveat, to be honest with you, like perfectly honest with you, this chat right here or comments on the channel, that's not the best place. If you want us to connect with a person that make videos, email us, because we might miss it here, and like it comes by in a flash during the live streams. So if you really want us to try to connect with them, send us an email.
You can get onto the contact page of our website at townsends.us. There's a little form that'll send a message into customer service, and they will forward it on to us. So if you want to connect with us, that's the way to do it.
Okay, so this question is asked a lot. We've cooked some things since then. Do you think you've got a new favorite? Was this your new favorite recipe that you just did? Like,
I don't know, guys. What do you think? Yeah, well, they're saying, "Wow, John, it was pretty good." There are different classes of food, right? So it's like, well, this is an entree. This is whatever. I think for breakfast food, this guy is gonna knock it right out of the park. Let me tell you.
For me recently, the nourishing hashi was probably the most surprised that I've been. That was way better than it should have been.
Did I get a chance to taste that?
You weren't in here that day.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Sophie got some.
Oh,
The dog.
fed the
got a
dog.
little
Great.
bit.
It was so good. They fed it to the dog.
Okay, so everyone loves log cabins, but were stone cabins ever constructed?
Stone cabins. Well, there are times when people are building out of whatever vernacular material they have to work with. And if you've got a lot of stones and you don't have a lot of trees, and that's what you're going to build out of. I don't know of very many places in North America where you would build a temporary structure out of stone rather than doing it with something like wood, which would go a lot faster and quicker. Now, they didn't necessarily construct. We think of log cabins as the classic early America kind of structure, but they aren't. Log cabins as we know them are really kind of slightly early 18th century, mid 18th century, and later, and earlier than that, they really didn't build like that. So say, New Englanders, they did not build log cabins. It's really with the influx of the Scots-Irish, the Lowlanders Scots that come in the 18th century, and they bring that building technique and those earlier cultures that came in to say Virginia or New England, they're using a completely different sort of even their fast. Let's build a house really quick. They wouldn't build it the same kind of way.
Top Hat is in the super chat. Where do you get most of your ingredients you cook with? Do you grow most of them?
No, I don't have the time to do a lot of growing of those. So I go to the grocery store like everybody else does, and try to get the kind of ingredients that are the best we can get.
I guess for some specialty stuff, we have sources around here that we can use.
Yep.
The cherry bounce were all from my cherry tree.
Yep.
Past that, it's mostly the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean the mushrooms, we went out and picked them.
Yeah,
if we'll do raspberries or something sometimes.
And you do grow some herbs for the finishing touches and that
some
sort
of them
of
grow
thing.
in a pot right outside the door here.
Right. Did they pasteurize milk back then, or was it just raw or fresh?
No, and that's why one of the things you'll see in the recipe books where they'll talk about scalding the milk, and of course you don't really need to do that with modern milk, but you'll see that all over in earlier recipe books where they'll kind of bring milk almost up to the boiling temperature. But pasteurization is a very 19th century kind of thing. And not what's going on in the 18th century at all.
Somebody was asking about a possible short series making a bespoke hunting carving trail knife. That could be a really fun episode. And somebody earlier was asking if we do have plans to do more woodworking, carving, furniture making, that sort of thing. We do have those plans.
Right. We've got some bigger plans on those sorts of things. It might take a while to come to fruition. Everything takes longer than you want it to, and we've got some bigger projects, sort of not in front of the camera projects, but behind the camera projects to get it so that we can do some of those things. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of our woodworking stuff is outside.
Yeah,
our pole lathe is outside, our shop's outside, so the winter can really
it kind of restricts the time we can do some of these projects.
John Tallies in Super Chat, how was salt kept for a length of time? Does salt go bad?
Salt does not go bad. It can draw moisture, and you have problems with it, and they would put it into kegs. You might see bags of salt in certain circumstances, but it certainly would draw moisture, and you couldn't store those in any kind of situation where you would worry about them being damaged. But you could store that up in wooden kegs, and wooden kegs in our time period, they're the cardboard box of the 18th century. They break them down, they put them together. There were just millions and millions of wooden barrels, kegs that were produced for all sorts of goods, and it was really the only way you could protect some things.
Have you ever considered doing an 18th century stone laying video?
Well, no, because I don't know how to do that, but there are probably some great folks we could connect with on that one.
This is somebody who says that they're a huge fan. Ask if you can talk a little bit about construction of the hearth in this kitchen.
Yeah, so hearth is like the German kitchen down at Stanton, Virginia. That's going to be brick all the way through, and you'd build this whole brick plinth up. You'd have the arches that are brick on the inside. This one is actually a wooden frame with the exterior made to look like this. So it's stuccoed on the outside. A wooden frame to hold in the bricks that are up on top, and there's a layer of fire bricks, and then there's 2 inches of sand, and then the wooden tray that it's sitting on top of. But super sturdy, and there's really no worries. There's lots and lots of heat insulation, so you can build as big a fire as you want on that, and you're not going to worry about being damaged by it.
This is David Faith in Super Chat. Have you seen today's Natalie and Tara video? It's Townsend's fried chicken. You may need to send them some pointers, John. They nearly burned the joint down.
Oh, I can imagine poor Natalie and Tara. We're gonna have to connect with those guys.
They're super capable. They normally figure it out.
Well, hopefully they had a fire extinguisher close by.
Yeah. David Glenn, were there winter chores or prep for the spring that 18th century people did while cabin bound?
Yeah, lots of those kinds of things. Certain things that you could do during the wintertime, little items that you could make when you didn't have anything else you could do. Sometimes it's just a really, really restful period, and you'll read in some accounts that whole kind of January time frame, January, early February, they would call Christmas, and they would just go from house to house and sort of have little parties and have fun. But you would also, if you're, in a smaller settings, you're going to be laying low and not expending a lot of the things you have because you have to eke them out into wintertime. But you do have little projects that you're going to be doing that you can bring inside to whatever dwelling you have. Stay warm by the fire and make little things that you can sell in the next year.
In Super Chat, History Nut 1776-1 says, thank you. And Aaron Howitt says, what makes the German kitchen the German kitchen?
Well, it's the German kitchen because it's based on a kitchen from a German house in a late 18th century house. A lot of similar structures stay very similar to this all the way into the 20th century. You'll see some pictures of rural houses in German areas that are still very much like this. So like 100 years ago, with the raised hearth and very, very simple kitchen. You'll see the ceilings are blackened from the smoke because that's how they cook every day, even warm the house. And so it's got it's going to be a timber frame structure and infill with kind of stucco looking. So that's what we're emulating here with this building. And if you get a chance to go to Staunton, Virginia and see that house, that's probably from the early 19th century, but very similar. They've got an Irish house, they've got a German house, they've got an English house from the 17th century, and then kind of various American houses. So you can see how all those styles kind of come together. Super interesting museum to see what influenced people and how domestic architecture changes through time.
Somebody's wondering how animals fared the trip across the Atlantic.
I don't know. It is hard to imagine. Stuffing the lower section of your ship with stalls to carry sheep and pigs and cows and horses. I can imagine, like trapping a horse. It's like, well, there you go. You got to stand there for, 2.5 months while we make it over. It would be incredible to see just how that worked. I don't know what to tell you, except that's how it was done. And it's really kind of hard to believe.
Were there frontier silversmiths, or was that a city boy job?
That's a city boy job. Okay. There may be a little bit of that stuff done by the blacksmith, that's out on the frontier, but I doubt it. He's going to be working on other kinds of projects.
Somebody has asked several times where they can get the kegs that we have sitting in here. You can get those on our website. And
you can head over to Townsends.us, and you'll find them in the menu section up at the top.
So John Talley says, what is the metal thing holding the copper-looking pot? Does it swivel?
Yes, that's the crane that moves so you can. You all right over there?
I was swiveling it, but there's a big pot next to it, so I swiveled it into that pot a couple times.
So yeah.
Just clamoring around back here, clowning.
You see what I had to put up with.
Well, I wanted to show him swivel. Continue.
Yes, like a fireplace crane, but we have it on that, and sometimes you just have a pole up. There's a pole up there that also hangs things, so you can, however you get items that need to hang over the fire.
Do you know when garlic came to the colonies?
Garlic is in the colonies. Now, if you open up Amelia Simmons's cookbook from 1798, she mentions garlic. She's in the New York area, and she says, garlic, but it's mostly medicinal. We don't do much cooking with it. really depends on your cultural connections as to whether you think garlic is a good thing to put on food in the 18th century, or even in the 21st century, as much as you want to go that direction. But so garlic is there, but sometimes it's used medicinally, or if you have some French connections or close to a French colony, there's going to be more garlic used in that situation. There's also some settings where you see it mentioned. So here you have Amelia Simmons, and she's saying, "Oh, nobody uses garlic," and then I can't remember which one of the travel journals. The person says, "Yeah, I ate at this person's house." Sort of, they wouldn't have like motels, but they would have this. So you would just kind of stop in people's houses, and you'd say, "Can I stay here tonight?" And it's like, "Sure, there's your spare room." So this traveler stops. He's somewhere just I think Pennsylvania, and he stops and he comments. He said the food, there was so much garlic in it that he was like, "I think they're trying to get us to leave. It was just so garlicky." Now, he could be exaggerating. Maybe any garlic is so much garlic to him. But garlic is showing up. It just kind of depends on who it is.
So there are 2 questions left, and then we got to say farewell. One of them is, when's the cooking class? And that's more of a joke than it is a question. I don't think that you guys want us to teach you how to cook.
How do you do this again? Flames everywhere.
Let's just say we've got fire extinguishers around the German kitchen as well. And then Rose McGuinn is in chat and says, with this experiment being a success, can we look forward to a live cooking episode in the near future?
Yeah, we're going to try to find just the right, nice, fun, complicated. It'll be a start to finish. Yeah. Who knows how, probably all kinds of disasters happening, no editing. It should be exciting. We'll probably have multiple cameras and, just terrible technical difficulties, and we'll be missing things. It'll be great fun. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll try to find a nice, semi-complicated kind of, not like boiled sheep's head or something like that. But where Ryan and I can both be interacting and cooking, and maybe I'll just be talking and he'll be doing all the work. I can imagine.
He'll be heckling me the whole time I cook.
Right, don't do it like that. Which is what they do to me every time. Like, I'm over here cooking. It's like, John, don't do it like that. What? It's like that. It's every time.
Dustin Williams says another vote for a cooking class in Super Chat. And I think this is the same Dustin that persuaded us to play board games. So, Dustin's persuasive.
I ordered the Lewis and Clark today, so
we're all happy about this.
We're thinking maybe over on Townsend's highlights.
We'll see.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see. That sounds scary, but it ought to be fun. We may have to, have a censor to bleep things out. I mean, I have no idea how this is going to go. Or possibly a referee. Break it up, guys. Break it up. No. Separate. We'll see. If you've ever played something like Risk, it's like, just don't do that with family members. It's a good idea. So we'll see how Lewis and Clark turns out. Are we there? Are we done?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just had a funny thought. Yes, we're there.
It's been a great time here in the kitchen, the Nutmeg Kitchen. Thanks for joining us. I really want to thank all the folks, the Patreon folks, PayPal, Townsends Plus, merch folks, obviously Super Chat. I think there's even a Super Thanks now on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't ask
like
me.
An extra thank you?
Yeah.
No, I very much thank you.
I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
They're coming up with new stuff every day. So who knows what that is? But I know you guys are out there and you're doing amazing things for us, because we can still do what we're doing. We couldn't do it any other way. We wouldn't be able to survive. We would starve to death. And you guys help us do what we would.
We would. I know. I was laughing out of fear, not joy.
Very good, very good.
It was hysterical.
So special thanks to all you folks out there that watch our videos and comment and give them thumbs up and share our videos with other people. I know that's a tremendous thing people are doing all the time. So thank you so much for that. I hope you have.
Well,
Yes.
we just hit 1,000 likes.
Yay!
Thank you.
You guys did it.
That's
Did
great.
it. Thank you so much. We're going to have a great weekend, really, I promise. And I hope you have a great weekend. And thanks for joining us today. Thanks for watching.